Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Media Cocktail Podcast, episode 4. We did it. We lasted 4 weeks, guys. What do you think?
Well, all I could say is I'm sad that we had to end on such a sad note. I'm just kidding.
I know, like, to make it this far, unbelievable.
Yes, we make it this far, and then this is where we fall. Pure comedy.
This is where we end up. Pure comedy. This is the second episode of the road. The end clip that keeps getting longer. Just throw that meme in there. No one's going to understand it yet. It's all right. We'll get there. My name is Brendan, otherwise known as Not Brandon. I am joined by my friends, Michael, script editor for Not Brandon, when videos actually come out in the future, maybe? I don't know. If it happens, I don't know. Eventually.
It'll happen one day.
Mike, how are you today?
Doing okay. Just been working on Nondescript Project number 1, but also please check it out. And just that's been pretty much like what I've been doing for all of today, as well as watching Death Parade.
Nice. All right. I am also joined by my friend William, former YouTube extraordinaire, now master of Devil May Cry. Is it fair to say that yet?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
I've only somewhat mastered the first game. Actually, I can't even say that because I cannot get through the whole game damageless, so I consider myself decent.
Got it.
And also future professional homeless is also Will.
Professional homeless? What does that mean?
He will be homeless, but he'll be pretty good at being homeless.
Got it.
I mean, that's fair, yeah.
Why'd you sound so sad by that? Yeah, that's accurate.
He just sees the future. It's like, yep, okay.
Yeah, okay, I accept it.
that. He's like, I got my Switch. It'll be all right.
I got my PS4, got PT on it. I can sell that off.
I thought you were saying you were going to keep your PS4 with PT on it. So you're just playing PT in your cardboard box.
Doesn't even have it like plugged in. It's just the cardboard box.
He's just remembering.
He's like, oh yeah, if I
projecting it on the
He's
screen.
just like, oh yeah, if I do this input, then I can turn right and go into the next room.
Yeah, doing all right. Just
right.
streaming Devil May Cry throughout the week.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, Will, you're here.
Anyway, what is this show? Anyway.
At this point, it's just a fucking hangout fucking podcast. Who knows?
As we discussed last week, we added a new section to the show, which is the cocktail of the week. This week's cocktail is a Moscow Mule. Michael, why don't you tell us about it?
So, this one is an absolute hood classic. It contains ginger beer, a little bit of lime, just a little bit, just maybe you want to get like half a lime. It also contains, at least my version, 4 ounces of vodka. So, I specifically use the Binging with Babish version of the Moscow Mule. And I even have like a cute little lime garnish.
Wow. That's nice. I didn't get that. I just used like lime juice.
I did that last time, and I swear to God, I must have been like sitting there like trying to like pour it out for like 2 minutes straight. It was like, okay, like how much? Fucking like as 2 tablespoons? Okay. And then just sitting there squeezing with all my might for 2 minutes. Was a pretty good workout though.
Oh, nice. How's your week this week, Mike?
I had spent some time this week. The only thing I really did other than like watch some overly sarcastic productions was I was reading a bit of the actual book of I Am Legend, not the movie, mind you, but the actual like book itself.
Yeah, you've seen the movie, right?
Yes, but it's been like 10 years probably.
Yeah.
And
it's been a literal decade.
It has been a little decade. And the only thing I remember was kind of the vampire, zombie, weird creature things in the movie. And also a little bit of the ending. Which ending? I do not know. Only thing I think I remember is like Will Smith was like standing there with like, spoilers by the way. Will Smith's standing there with like the grenade and he pulls it while like looking at like the big bad vampire creature thing.
Okay, so that's one of the endings. The other ending is that like of the movie, not the book. I don't know what happens in the book, but the movie, like he figures out like they still are human or something.
I still want you. No. That I don't want to spoil it purely because of the theme of the book because it does tie.
Oh, is it like Is it like the the ending
Like,
of the book as well?
There's a theme, or there's some. The book and the movie like leads up to a revelation. I don't want to say it just because like I think that would kind of give away a bit more about the book.
Yeah, because I've been actually reading it on Kindle. I was not really much of like a Kindle or like an ebook reader until pretty recently. I've actually been quite enjoying my Kindle because one of the problems I have when I'm like reading is I just like impulsively have to like look at like the page numbers and stuff like that. But having like an ebook reader is actually like forcing me like, hey, don't look at that stupid. Just
All
look
right,
at
all right. All right.
sorry,
I got a
just-
segment. I
just
got a
read.
segment for the podcast here. I'm gonna cut everybody off for just a second because I am infuriated by this trend on YouTube. All right. So people make fake trailers on YouTube all the time, and they get millions of views, and I just can't fathom. There is a trailer for I Am Legend 2, which if you've seen the movie, regardless of whatever ending you've seen, there is no reason why Will Smith would be in I Am Legend 2. But it says I Am Legend 2 coming out in 2022 starring Will Smith. Excuse me, no. And this trailer has 15 million views. Man, I'm in the wrong line of work. Maybe if I just lie to my audience, then yeah, I'll get millions of views. There you go. Stupid. This has been a thing for decades too. I remember watching like Pirates of the Caribbean 4 before that was actually a thing. Trailers on YouTube, and it wasn't even real. It was just like footage of the previous movie cut together. And people make ad money off of this. And no, we gotta demonetize the YouTube creators. We gotta demonetize, we gotta copyright strike people that make original content, not people that literally just re-upload clips of a movie and call it trailer for the sequel and then move on. Stupid.
Who knows? He could have survived that grenade.
So I'm not gonna lie.
Ugh.
When you said you were infuriated, I thought you were saying about how I pretty much stopped you right there.
No. Oh, you thought I was gonna get mad at you?
I'm furious, Will. I am.
Will,
in fact,
I've known you for
triggered.
almost 10 years. Probably actually that. When have I ever been mad at you?
Public, not often. Behind the doors, can't really count.
Can't really count. Wow. I don't think I get mad often at all.
No, you not really. You know.
I usually get mad at things, not people. Or I try to be.
I think that was.
I get mad at people a lot, but
I think that was the first time we saw some Brendan rage right there.
hell yeah. I peeked through that whole thing, so that'll be fun to edit.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, that's the
brother.
segment for this week. That's the segment.
So yeah, having fun with the book.
Anyway, the book.
Honestly, I'm pretty. I have a thing that I'm trying to do, and this is going to sound crazy to some of you folks out there, but I am trying to like do some like writing. It's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to like get a few novels out there. I have a short story that I'm also working on the side, mainly for my writing club that I do. But the thing is, I'm actually like pretty new to reading. I didn't really read too much as a kid. I was not really like those people who like read like books for like a pastime. I was pretty much like, yeah, and I like video game, yeah.
Video game go burr.
Video game go burr, cars go burr. And I'm just kidding. I don't even like pay attention. to
Cars go zoom.
Well, there's like people out there that note like, hey, you have like a 264 transmitter, and I'm like, okay, I think the car goes
real car
forward.
people. Yeah.
Real car
you know what's
people,
really
yeah.
good? People that pretend to be into something.
Ugh.
It's like the best.
Ugh.
Hey, you ever tie together that 6x4 with that XLR cable and then do the Dark Souls over here?
But
and you're like, what did you
do the Dark Souls, do the fat
That was
roll.
just like a mix of words. I don't know what you said. You said 2x4, then you said XLR, and then you started talking Dark Souls. Like, I don't understand what's happening.
My computer has 60 million gigs worth of RAM.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I like reading is like still like a new thing for me, and it's very interesting seeing like this book go entirely like with and seeing a book entirely from like a single character's perspective, with I would say like extremely little to basically no support characters. It's all been pretty much an internal, continuous internal monologue, and it's been fascinating.
Yeah, because he's basically like the only living or non vampire.
Well, it was still like surprising. I was like, oh, he's gonna get like someone to help him, right? And then like halfway through the book, I'm like, oh my god, there's not gonna be anyone. This is super interesting, and it's held my attention thus far. There's one thing that's like, it's a little weird, but other than that, like, it's been a very
Honestly, it sounds kind of
fascinating
depressing.
book. And each time I read something, oh, trust me, the main character, Robert Neville, he's a sad motherfucker. He has nothing going on for him. I'm surprised he hasn't committed suicide by now, just because he has nothing left.
She has no one to talk to. No.
Honestly, pretty much. Like, it's just, there's like one part that it's like, there's a little bit of the, backstory to Robert Neville, the life before the plague, but it's definitely not like, I wouldn't even say it's a good minority of like the book. It's basically super little.
Oh, like,
but it's been interesting and fascinating seeing all these different things within books. Like, I'm gonna be probably reading a book called Lies of Locke Lamora, and between each chapter, I think it is, I'm pretty sure it's between each chapter, if not most chapters, there is, the regular chapter, and then there's an interlude. What the interlude is, I don't know, but I'm fascinated to see what it could be.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I've not seen that before, so once again, I'm just completely fascinated for right now.
I mean, that is kind of the weird thing about books. It's like, yeah, like reading multiple different kinds of books. I wasn't much of a big reader myself growing up, so most of the books I kind of stuck to was like Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, and those are very much geared towards like young adult audiences. So they just kind of
even I didn't read those books. I still need to catch up. I still need to read like Lord of the Rings. I still need to read Harry Potter. I still need to read Percy Jackson.
But you're talking about I Am Legend, where there's pretty much no supporting character. It's just this one guy's monologue throughout the whole book so far, and it's like, yeah, you never really like. It's interesting, like just how effective words can be when written well,
It's been definitely a extremely like. It's definitely been a very worthwhile read, just by like seeing like the technique and seeing that it could work by its own, let alone, just it being as well being a good book. But honestly, other than that, I've been just watching Overly Sarcastic Productions talk about tropes, which once again, that's probably going to be a debate or a topic that we'll talk about, that I at least want to talk about, like in maybe someday, I don't know, but talking about tropes and its place within like media, because I know that there's the big thing is like a lot of people see like, oh, this is a trope, and they immediately think, oh, it's just lazy and bad, but sometimes not. But honestly, tropes are there for a reason. But
tropes are kind of like a mathematical equation. Like, you just wind up doing a trope by accident because it's easy, and it's not like a thing of like, oh, it's laziness. It's just like natural parts of writing that you might accidentally like do again, and that's just common shared amongst writers. Now, there's definitely like being tropey in a lazy way, but being tropey in an interesting way. Like, you can have a tropey character, but then like turn that trope on its head or do something that's like creative with it.
Yeah, doing something subversive, but that'll be a different topic for a different time, I think.
Or at least just do the characters right, Make them believable.
We're doing it now, Mike.
I guess we're doing it now. Nah, but it'll be something that we'll talk about maybe later on, and go like really in depth with it.
I don't know if we can go
But-
in depth with it,
Yeah,
but we can find it. We'll find out. We'll
I
find
didn't.
out next
I know.
time.
I didn't. I know. Yeah, I know I didn't, but that'll be for next week, ladies and gentlemen, or whenever we decide.
At
to
some
fucking talk
point, when
about it
Texas
again.
freezes over. Oh,
Oh fuck.
well, how's your? Yeah.
Yeah, but how about you, Will? How's your week going so far?
And it's been going alright, I guess. Recently got back into Final Fantasy 14. Now that
Boo.
Boo.
MMO bad. Burr.
Burr. The thing is, like, the two of us have
Look
a
at me
friend of
such
ours.
bullied. I feel so bad for Will. He just stops and we immediately
do.
just dive in on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you've become silent. You have shown weakness, young Padawan. But we do have a friend who's like really big into Final Fantasy 14, and I'm just like, this he's played like legitimately like maybe 20 or more days, at least like 2,000 hours into the game. And I'm like, bruh, how? I can't even like, even for like Yakuza 0, which is one of my favorite games, I can't even see myself putting more than like 500 hours at most before getting bored of it. How could you play a single game, even if it is more for like the social aspects, for like actually thousands
same
of
reason
hours?
someone could play a game about airplanes for thousands of hours. Okay, I don't know if any of those have correlate, but people can be drawn to like the craziest of things.
It's just at what point that I have is like, at what point does it like, I guess it's just not for me. I'm not exactly a MMORPG or MOBA type of person.
I definitely
It's just-
understand like the community aspect to it, but like just a dogpile on Will here. I just don't find I just don't find MMOs at all like intriguing in terms of story perspective, and I often find that like MMO combat, which is like multi-moused, like you have attack 1, you have attack 2, you have attack 3. I kind of never like that combat. Now I'm gonna put a pin in that statement that I don't like that combat because I've played Divinity 2 with Will, and I kind of liked the system in that, and that's very similar to what I'm talking about. I have Dragon Age coming up at some point. I'm going to play that as well, which also has a very similar MMO combat system, so maybe I'll take that back at some point. But as of right now, I guess this is why I'm like not into MMOs. I totally get why, again, the community aspect, but like outside of that.
Well, yeah, the community aspect's one thing, but I also wonder if it can really drag something like that far. That's just the thing that kind of blows my mind.
Well, the thing is though is that it does feel weird how like no MMO really seems to want to expand beyond the tab targeting combat that WoW popularized. And it does kind of suck because yeah, most MMO combat it's not that great. I mean, they work fine for what they need to accomplish, right? I won't lie when I wish there were just more than just tab target combat for MMOs. With that aside, I think with 14, it does it all right. I like that each skill, at least, like there's a combo to go for, although that does kind of make your movesets a little bit repetitive at times, all things considered. I will give props to 14 designs, like, especially considering the fact that I played WoW and 14 side by side, right? And it's just kind of crazy to think how much 14 sort of streamlined certain elements of WoW, like the fact that all of your items just immediately are put into your inventory as soon as you kill enemies. The world design is much more simpler, which is, good or bad, however you perceive it. Even the dungeons, is how they're laid out is pretty straightforward, because after the first expansion, every dungeon basically became a corridor, which makes them a little bit less intriguing in that sense, but given how the dungeons work, all it really amounts to is the tank just running up ahead, aggroing every possible enemy, and then just have everyone else take them down and then move on. So they're designed well in that aspect. And WoW's, on the other hand, not so. The dungeons you don't really just run forward and kill them. You have to kind of, I guess, do other stuff. Like one of them, we had to get drunk to be able to kill the boss. I got into that simply just because, I guess community aspect, and plus the expansion is been announced coming out fall, so it's like, okay, I guess now. Although I renewed my subscription at the worst possible time, because now Square is just like, hey, if you haven't played 14 in a while, you get to play for free for a little bit. And I'm like, thanks for telling me that like 2 days after I got my subscription. Really helped. Exactly. Other than that, I've just been streaming Devil May Cry through the week.
Which I was there. Pedro was there.
I think we've all been part of it for a little bit. We all like cheered Will on.
Thanks, guys.
I try to be positive to Will. I said nothing but positivity.
And then Will would throw his controller and be like, maybe you should take a break.
I was like, you should take a break. Dude, chill. That was me in the comments. Every time that Will walked into the room, even if he had like a quarter health, I was like, you got this, bud.
Hey, there have been a few times where I legit killed a boss with like a single point of health, so.
Because I've known Will for so long, I know what he can do in a video game. Like one of my favorite stories, and Will can expand upon this, is when Will had first gotten to Bloodborne DLC. This must have been like 2015, 2016?
I want to say 16.
Yeah. And you were like, I'm having an impossible time with this boss. I don't even think I'm going to beat him this time. But you brought your PlayStation over to our friend's house to show us the boss. And then you beat it first go.
Made me a liar.
Go ahead. You can
Sometimes
expand upon that.
Will is what I would consider a gamer.
Not because I
Yeah.
don't have a life, but because I have too many.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Oh my god, gamers are so cringe. Gamers are so cringe.
I actually don't care all that much.
Well, no, because it's like, I didn't find that boss for like 5 hours. Or I would try like that boss for hours, and I'm like, why can I not beat him? It is just...
It's because you don't
He
have
leaves-
the chainsaw weapon.
That is true. I did not have that. But it was just the kind of boss that left very little openings, I guess. Yeah, that was a pain in the ass, and so was trying to finish, Dante Must Die mode in DMC1. Granted, I think this was probably the easiest Devil May Cry game to S rank, just because it only like scores you based off 3 criterias, and actually that criteria gets lowered on DMD mode. So it's like, hey.
I was gonna say, so is the DMC like Resident Evil, where the game itself is like 4 to 5 hours or 6 hours, but like you're supposed to play it over and over again to like expand into different modes and things like that?
I legit beat the game on hard in 2 hours, so yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
It
one of
is-
the 3 playable things.
Yeah. Well, especially since the first time you're playing through it, you don't exactly have like all of your move sets. Now, granted, it's the first game, so there's not really a whole lot to unlock, but they're really expensive to purchase.
I suppose this will be my question. I've never played a Devil May Cry game. What are red orbs for? Because I know that was like a thing that's like you need to collect them all and stuff like that. But I never knew what you were supposed to use red orbs for.
Well, you didn't really use me to get it for anything, because I pretty much had everything I really needed. They're basically your form of currency. You use them to purchase items and your skills. Because in the game, you don't have your full move set. Like my stinger attack, which is basically my lunge forward with my sword. Yeah, you don't have that when you start off, and you have to upgrade it twice. Or no, you have to purchase 2 variations of it to get like the full benefit. And like I said, they can be pretty expensive. For how much they're asking. And so you're just kind of like replaying through the same game to purchase all the skills. Or purchase all your skills, increase your health and Devil Trigger and all that. So it's like you start off weak, then you replay the game to not only challenge yourself some more, but also potentially finish upgrading yourself to tackle the even more difficult challenge that lies ahead.
And what would you consider the worst boss that you had to beat in the game? On DMD.
I would probably have to say Nightmare was a nightmare.
I see what you did there, Will. That's a good one.
Especially considering the first time, like, it was, I just could, God damn it, what was it? Like, he has that little quirk where it's like, he eats you, and then it takes you sort of this,
He has a little quirk where he eats you.
Yeah. And it drags you to this nightmare realm. where you have to refight a previous boss, and if you defeat him, you basically take a huge chunk of the boss's health right out. Unfortunately, I could not do that the first time through and achieve the S rank because I couldn't do it fast enough.
Got it.
Which sucks because there's another mechanic tied to him regarding his orbs. So it's like, oh great, now the orbs are going to be harder, or it's going to make him harder to damage later on because I can't do the thing properly. I don't want to get too deep into it. I'm dragging this out already.
I mean, we have time.
Yeah. But I did it. I got S rank on all the missions. So,
Congratulations.
So 1 down, 5 more to go. And that even includes DMC Devil May Cry. That's going to be fun. Because I think that was the first one. I don't know if it was this or 3, but they have but they added the Heaven and Hell difficulty mode, which is and that one it's both you and all of your enemies die in a single hit. And then you get Hell and Hell mode, which the enemies have normal health, but you still die in 1 hit.
So it's pretty much get good mode.
Yeah.
Does that mean if you'll automatically get S rank if you beat it though?
Pretty much. Well, that and the fact that I have to actually in DMC I think even in 4, like the criteria's kind of gets expanded upon. Like there's 5 criterias added. Or 2 more yeah. It's just gonna be a bigger pain as I get through. So it's gonna be fun. But you know what? I freaking love this series. Although I gotta say, it really blew my mind. I told Brendan this before. But admittedly, it took me way too long to learn that the original creator of the series, Hideki Kamiya, had like nothing to do with the franchise after the first game. Like, I knew that Capcom pulled the rug from under him in regards to the sequel, because they decided to do that while they were still localizing the first game, and just didn't bother to tell him about it. But for some reason, I thought that they brought him back from the series from then on, but no, they just got some other guy who actually did work on, or who was the lead designer for the second game, but only for like the last 4 to 5 months. But since then, he's been helming the projects, and it just really threw me off, and I'm like, okay, that's weird, but it also makes a whole lot of sense at the same time. Just because it just feels like there's a few retcons in regarding to the third entry. Such as Virgil, and even like, it's kind of funny, because in Devil May Cry 3 was the first one to introduce, not style switching, but just like weapon styles in general. And it's like, that's cool, but that would have been handy to have in the first game, don't you think? And that was older.
Alright, we're good. So yeah, so my week was not great. Not as miserable as other people's in Texas, but for those who don't know, not to dox myself, I live in Texas. Oops. My mistake. Happens. Something a banana peel, that's how I wound up here. Anyway,
I'm gonna fucking find you and beat you up. I know where you live now.
Damn. Be doing me a favor. Anyway, I live in Texas, and if anybody's read the news recently, Texas has shut down due to a winter event where, in actuality, we only got about like 4 to 5 inches of snow, which is not that much. And if you live in an eastern state or a northern state, you're probably like, that's nothing, dude. And you're right, that is nothing. But Texas is not prepared for nothing. So all of our water is shut down. We have no running water in the house, so we've had to gather up snow. We have to shovel up snow with literally, like, we don't have any shovels. This is how unprepared Texas is. We have no snow shovels, so we had to grab dustpans and we had to like sweep snow into dustpans and dump it into buckets. And that's what we've been doing for our plumbing water. And then we're again fortunate and able to get bottled water for us to drink, so we have plenty of drinking water, fortunately. And then we've had power this entire time, which is how I'm able to record the podcast this week. It's how I was able to, even though it was slightly delayed because of it, Even though I was able to get the podcast out this week, or last week's podcast out. Last week's podcast out. Outside of that, to like distract myself from this like torment, I've been playing a lot of chess. I even got Will and Mike here involved for a couple games, so I'm hoping to play some more at some point. So I kind of really enjoy it, despite how weaselly I play it. I'm an immensely weaselly player. I do not resign.
Do you want to tell him how I was robbed, just robbed in some of those games? You want to tell the audience that, huh, Brendan?
You want to tell the audience? You want to tell the audience about how you like to, run the clock out on some people?
Like I said,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Will. I love you as a friend. That's on you. That one was on you.
Look, dude, I know it was completely on me, but I still got a yellow to Brennan about that.
I want to complain
against me like every game he watched. He got so mad he left the Discord call, and he came back to say good game, and then left again.
Actually, that was just done.
I know it was a prank, but
it's just a prank, bro.
That's why I stopped myself.
So I've been doing that.
It was just a prank, bro.
We finally did it, and this is why I was streaming this week, because it's bare minimum what I can do, week to week, and two, because we can finally say that we have finished RE6. We're done.
And
we're done with RE6.
Hallelujah.
We don't have to ever do it again. We're done. It's uninstalled. It's gone forever. We've completed all the campaigns. We know all there is to know about RE6. Will and I are just endlessly knowledgeable about it, obviously.
But dude, we still have Horde mode to do.
Shut up. No, we don't. Horde mode doesn't exist. It's hoarded. We don't play it. All right?
I see what you did there, motherfucker.
Well, why don't you explain some of our experience with the RE6? I'll be right back. I gotta grab a beer.
I mean, well, I love the fact that my guy in the Ada Wong campaign was just pretty much a non-entity. I didn't really need to worry about having to open doors or puzzles solve because I couldn't do anything. I could just teleport to places, whatever. Like, it kind of just felt like, what was the point of me being there? Oh my god. Or some of those stealths. Oh man, what else was there? God, it kind of sucks because we had like so many gaps in between sessions. Just because.
If you want to, if you also want to see, if you want to see some funny things that happen of it, check out Not Brendan's Twitter, or not Twitter. Check out Not Brendan's Twitch, which has a couple of funny clips provided by yours truly.
Oh yeah.
Also,
some of the physics was very wonky because there was one clip that you, I think you want to say that we were in the air vents and just as soon as we shot one of the zombies, they just flew off the screen.
It was pretty funny. Also, the helicopter was probably the best one in my opinion.
Oh, the helicopter. Some of the death animations were actually pretty great in Ada campaign. Just like the freaking sign.
Yes, Brendan's eternal battle against the sign.
Just no matter where she was, she just kept getting smacked down right into the sign. It is a terrible game. My God. Like it was only like funny bad the first time around with Leon's campaign, but everyone after that was just like, why are you playing this?
Yeah, I was even thinking that when I was like watching the Ada Wong campaign, I was like, bro, you guys are still going at it. You guys didn't like decide to like quit.
Nah, we're troopers.
We're troopers. We stuck through it. It took about 6 months, but we did it. We finished it. We can say we've beaten RE6. We're one of the what? What was it, Will? Like 23% of people?
Something like that. Like the 20% of people who like bother to do the campaigns. Actually, that kind of makes. Hold on, there's actually a percentage of how many people played through all of the campaigns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completed the entire game on amateur, which only 18% of players have the achievement.
And we played above amateur as well, didn't we? Like normal or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, we play on normal. Okay, on normal, 12% of players got that.
We're in the minority, Will.
That is
We did it.
ass. That is ass.
That is just straight up ass, yeah. I think like 23% of people have beat Witcher 3. And that game's like excellent. It's just really long.
Yeah, and like the most amount of most likely people only play through the Leon campaign because about 40% of people done that one and they were like, okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Because then you like as you get through the chapters, like the number of players who finished it just gets lower and lower.
Yeah. To be fair, that's with every game, but it's especially low for RE5 or RE6. Sorry. We'll report back when we beat RE5, which was something else we played this week, though in limited quantity because of again Texas Hellscape.
Yeah, and the part that they're at currently in the story is
It's a little sus, to be honest.
a little sus.
Little like this game was made
Among
in
Us.
Japan.
Among Us. Sus, Among Us. I've been seeing like that meme for like everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
The like, and it's I'm ready for it to die. I think I'm ready.
Look, I'm glad the Among Us devs have made their millions. I'm glad. I'm really happy for them. I saw them at the Game Awards. They seem like a very cute team. Very, very cool. Very chill people. I like it. I like it. But my God, I want the Among Us memes to stop. I want to stop seeing Among Us in people's bios. I don't care anymore. I'm just... I am deliberately
I'm
avoiding
done.
that game. I am deliberately avoiding that game because I just do not care. I'm sorry. I'm done. I've had enough.
I've had my fun with it.
If I see you playing that game, I'm sending you to God.
It's true. It's true.
It's
She's not even real. She's not even real.
Sus.
Sus. Oh. Sus.
Oh.
I've also tried out
Sus.
Amnesia and Yakuza 7 this week, both of which are stream. If you're curious what I'm playing week to week, I'm usually streaming it. I'm actually really enjoying streaming, and my buddies here are often in the chat, so you can come and hang out with us. And as of right now, we are still relatively unpopular online, so you can just walk right up to us and say, "Hey, yo, what's up, dude?" And we're gonna respond to you and be like, "Yo, what's up, dog?" And then you'll be like,
Brendan,
"You're gonna be famous
I-
one day on YouTube," and I'm gonna be like, "Hell no!" And then that's the end of the stream.
Brendan, I already did the plug. You don't have to do it.
I'll just do it
I'm
again.
the marketing guy.
Hey, look, I wasn't
I'm doing.
here.
I'm the
right?
marketing guy.
You finally get 50 followers. You're like, awesome. I think I'm done now.
Done. Well, Will peaked at 100 subscribers, and he just stopped, and then he got more subscribers.
Yeah, sound like someone else I know, Will.
Literally hasn't uploaded it in a year and 2 months. Literally. Sus.
Sus. Pure
You got
comedy.
this, you
Pure
got this,
comedy.
dude.
No, I've enjoyed what I've played of Amnesia and Yakuza 7. Yakuza 7, holy crap, are some of those cutscenes a little long for me. I kind of lose it. Even with the dub, I'm kind of like, uh-huh.
Yeah, you gotta remember, which is, Yakuza 7 is still like supposed to be like a crime drama mixed in with like a soap opera.
Yeah.
It is gonna have, you're gonna have to wait a little bit for some of the more kookier parts of the game.
I'm excited to get to that point. I like the combat so far. Like I mean, Mike, you watched the stream. You seemed like I seemed like I was enjoying myself, correct?
Yeah, it seemed like you're enjoying yourself. You got a little like annoyed when you're like, oh, I can't go here.
No.
I guess I'll have to go around.
Yeah, that's a little
I could
weird.
not
I like
watch
how
it.
in-depth the world is, I gotta say. Like, being able to interact with each arcade machine, even if they're all the same, and they're all, like, Sega titles or whatever, like, still, that's kind of a cool
Yeah.
element. I definitely like the world design better than, like, a Grand Theft Auto. Like, I would really rather an open world be as deep as an ocean, but as wide as a puddle, than as wide as an ocean and as deep as a puddle. You know, like, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't go into any of the stores, oh, you can't interact with any of the people, you can't do all of this. And I'm only like an hour and a half into Yakuza 7, and it's still not, I don't think it's perfect at it. But I like it better than a open world like Grand Theft Auto, where like you can interact with gas stations, I guess, which is less than what you could do in GTA 4. But
Well, like in Yakuza's case, because the series doesn't really have this huge open end city. Or okay, I guess this is pretty. It's not as sprawling as Grand Theft Auto, obviously.
Right.
But I just find that the city you do. But I do find the city you do explore to have far more character behind it because of how small it is.
I'm pretty sure in Yakuza they reuse assets as well and stuff like that. Right.
Well, yeah, because right now you are in the place where it's like, yeah, how much are you really gonna like switch things up with like? Because this is the 6th time, or the 7th time actually, that you're in Kamurocho. There's gonna be some other cities that you're gonna be able to visit like later on, like Sotenbori, and one other place that will be not said right now. I kind of see us like you don't have to like rework the wheel every time you make the wheel. If you are returning to like a city, it's fine to reuse some, just make it like different enough to where it's like it feels like fresh enough when you get back to it. But also there's the other city that you might or might not be getting into.
We'll get there. We'll get there with Yakuza again. Plug. The stream. Plug.
And I would have watched the stream, but that would be spoilers in my case because I've yet to play Yakuza 7.
But I spoiled it in your chat. I literally wrote it. Remember, Mike? When I told him that spoiler does spoiler, and then he says spoiler about it? Like,
well, I banned you, so it doesn't apply anymore.
Darn.
I remember
It's gonna be a real shock when spoiler, and then Darth Vader shows up and spoiler.
God damn it.
What was funny was when I went over to I don't even know why. Well, I understood each thing, but like when I watched Will's last Yakuza 0 stream, I got auto-modded like 5 separate times.
Oh yeah.
Did you get auto-modded in my chat as well?
I got auto-modded like I think twice so far, like total. But this is like 5 in like one stream.
He just kept saying the wrong thing, I guess.
I guess Twitch has some real harsh auto-mod. But somehow people can still spam in my chat, like dumb links to whatever.
You want to be famous? Click this totally not sketchy link.
Right.
I wanna be.
Anyway, I also played Amnesia as part of the You Can't Scare Me series, where I play some horror video games. And well, yes, Amnesia has not scared me. I do find it way more fun, way more atmospheric for a game that came out a year, I want to say 2 years before Outlast. And while it doesn't have the same in terms of animation quality, it's way deeper in its interactability than Outlast. So, cheers to Amnesia, the first 2 hours.
3 years before.
3 years. Wow. Yeah. I'm excited to get to its sequel at some point. No, not Machine of Pigs, the actual sequel. Or I think it's a prequel, I guess.
Rebirth, I guess.
Rebirth, yeah. That seems really, really cool. And that one's a little bit more story-focused, I've heard. I'm still kind of excited to play it. I've got a bunch of games on my wish list now that I'm going to get to as I play through horror games. Because I've got some deep opinions on horror games that hopefully will start to come out over the next couple months as videos start to come out. That was pretty much my week. There was something that came out this week that kind of took me off guard, and it literally started in the middle of a chess match between me and Will. We had to like auto-resign. And that was the Nintendo Direct for February 17th. What do you guys think of the Direct?
Honestly, it's just disappointment. Now, here's the thing. Smash, for the thing that I mainly care about is, I mean, my name is Smashbox. I have a bit of a soft spot for the Super Smash Bros. Series. And we might be doing something with Super Smash Bros. Pretty soon. So, I guess keep your ear out for it.
Check that out.
Whenever it comes out. Plug. But the thing is, like, at the same time, I have lost like any and all, like, even it could have, unless it's like something like really stupid. And yes, this might be a take. Don't know why this would be a take, but this is a take. If it was like something like Goku or Naruto or something like that, I would be upset. But for the most part, I don't find myself getting angry or upset with who they released for Super Smash Bros. Anymore. And I've been seeing like either two things. One of them is just because of this one group I'm part of that I'm also not really happy with. It's oh, another anime waifu sword fighter, and it's like, come on, who actually cares? Come on. I know this is supposed to be like a thing of gaming, but you know, is it going to be like really the end of the world if we don't have Crash Bandicoot or Spyro in Super Smash Brothers? Is it really going to affect the rest of your days that much that it's just going to be so hard to deal with that Pyra and Mythra is in Smash? I don't really care anymore. I just don't care anymore. It's not the first pick I'd go with, but I'm just like, sure, whatever. We have like two more that we could see. But
this is why, this is like I say, like, you know, gamers.tm kind of suck. And when I say gamers.tm, I don't mean like people that play video games. I mean like this tropey idea of the person that's always online, that like just like reacts negatively to anything ever announced, and it's just like super mean about it. That's not to say that you can't critique the video game industry. Holy crap, if you want to critique an industry, the video game industry sucks. Holy crap. And despite that,
well with critiquing for
critiquing. But despite that, there are some people out there that are just ungrateful. That are just stupid. That make the lamest excuses. And you know these people that I'm talking about. These are the people that are in forums yelling about a game that they have never... Some of them haven't even played. I've experienced these people. These people have been in my comment section. And this is like referring back to like the Cyberpunk thing. I had people yell at me about a game that wasn't even out yet. And they had the gall to say a reviewer reviewed a game poorly. How do you know? You haven't played it. How do you know? How do you know? And then, even if it's the poorest review ever, why do you give a damn?
Yeah, and and kind of like going along with that, the other thing that I had also noticed was this other group, which is more of like some people. It's some people like kind of know, but it's really hard because I feel that like this is even more of a sensitive topic than, you know, just more than just like what I said, which is you don't have. Yes, Smash Brothers is a party game. It has fighting game elements, but it is a party game, and it's also considered a fighting game. That's no reason for you to act smug towards like the game. Yes, acting smug, because in one of the Discord things I was in, and it kind of like annoyed me a bit, was like they're like saying like they're acting like so condescending and smug towards like Super Smash Bros. I guess it's because I have like a bit of a soft spot for Smash Bros, but it's also like a reasonable soft spot where it's like, oh, yeah, Super Smash Bros. It never peaked. It's just, it was good in the Nintendo 64, but it's never peaked since then. It peaked when the character I like number 1 said it, and the character I like number 2 said it. But other than that, it's all been garbage, and of course, a low-tier waifu character is the one who gets it. It's like, come on, you can put your ego down just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit, and just let other people accept and have fun with something that is just a party game. And I know that you play, you know, fighting games, and that I have my own respect for fighting games, but just because you play a fighting game and know all the combos and basically earn another tax bracket doesn't mean that you have to like scoff at people enjoying Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
All right, and that's the end of my rant.
Like personally, like I personally like have a deep disagreement with the way that the Total War franchise has gone since Rome 2. But like, man, if I had known playing Rome 2 what it would be like now, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll take Rome 2 any day. But that's my design preference, you know. And I've been playing Total War since Rome 1, like 2 decades ago. Like almost literally, like 2000. It's like 2004 almost. Yeah, 2004. So almost 2 decades ago. Like, you gotta take your L's when you take your L's, you know. Like I'm not going to win over a developer for saying, hey, this design sucks when your game is selling really well. And like you're keeping your employers employed and employees employed and things like that. It's like, who are you gonna tell? You gonna tell them they're wrong for doing that? Like, you can, doesn't mean that they're like sparred from critique. You should totally critique them. If you've got the viewpoint, you know, you should totally share your viewpoint. I'm not against sharing viewpoints. And this gets into like a topic that, like, I might cover in a video someday. I don't know, maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows? I don't know. But I just let people enjoy the things that they want to enjoy. And like, and
Yeah,
if people
there's
are
no
trying
need
to
to-
get into something, like, just don't be hatred. Like, I just don't understand the hatred anymore. Like, I used to like feel that way when I was younger, I guess. I don't know if it's because of like like I don't know, yeah, mellowing out at 24. I don't know. Just why take it so seriously? Just like, it's like, okay, yeah, sure.
This is the most simple but like most obvious. But like some people need to hear it, and it's just sometimes just don't be a dick. Just
Yeah.
don't be a dick.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Treat people nicely. Treat people nicely, and if they have a differing opinion, don't be a dick about it.
Right.
So that's all well and good and all that, but I'm still freaking furiated that they announced Skyward Sword HD for Switch. Why not Wind Waker? Nintendo, you're literal garbage.
Yeah,
We got 2 segments out of this
it-
podcast. I'm glad. This is good. All right.
Yeah, so it has been interesting to see like like literally the Mr. fucking Legend of Zelda himself was like, yeah, we're working on Breath of the Wild, but we ain't got anything. LOL. Here's Skyward Sword HD.
He literally left the camera in spite. He had a spiteful grin. It was great. Anyway,
Like he
10 out of
knew
10.
he was just like, you're all looking forward to Breath of the Wild too. I get that, but yeah, we got nothing. So
he was
here's
like,
Skyward Sword.
listen here, sweaty. What else? I mean, what else was
When-
really announced from this? Like, this was kind of a disappointing direct. Like, we got Splatoon 3, which coming
Don't
out
forget about
next. Apparently, it's coming
Pyramid
out next year.
Strategy.
Oh yeah, Pyramid Strategy. Yeah. By the way,
The
do we
Triangle
think that they're gonna
Strategy,
nail that Splatoon 3 release year? I think no. I think it's 2023, early spring, probably.
Yeah, I guess probably 2023.
Yeah, I would say early, but yeah. I think they announced
but-
November, but then push it to spring. I might be wrong. I don't know. I probably will be wrong, and then my audience, pardon me, our audience will be quite upset.
Oh wow, already protective of your audience already, huh?
That's right, my audience. Haha,
My
audience of
audience.
80 people. Haha.
LMAO.
Can I just say it's weird that they announced a physical edition of Hades in a direct? Like, if that's not a telltale sign of we've got nothing.
But dude, they got Mario Golf.
Yeah, when was the last time one of those was good? Strikers? Not that's not even a golf game, it's a soccer game.
I think I heard like good, like just not great but good things about what's that game? The tennis game? Super Mario Tennis?
Aces? Is that what the newest one was called?
I think you're
I played
right.
that.
It's Aces.
I played that at like a Best Buy, I think. Like it's in the demo section. That was okay. I can't remember that being all right. I mean, it's tennis. Like, how do you screw up tennis? Though the point is that you add stuff to it, right? Like you expand upon the concept, so like it's more engaging to play your game rather than just really playing tennis.
It's also surprising that they're bringing back Miitopia.
Yeah, that was really weird. Right? Which started a list that Will and I started to make, like, oh, they're doing this instead of Wind Waker HD. Oh, they're doing this instead of Wonderful 101. Oh, they're doing this instead of...
Well, prefaced by already is a Wind Waker HD, but not a port for the Switch.
Right.
Nintendo, for love of God, it's probably really easy to do a collection of these ports. That's easy money right there.
Oh, yeah.
No.
That's totally worth $60, I would think. I could even see them selling that for $100, being like, okay, yeah, here's 3 of them, all remastered for Switch. $80.
It's for 3 games, hell yeah. But no, you give us a 10-year-old game for $60. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a big L, I've got to say. That's a massive L. Oh, yeah, we're going to re-release Skyward Sword, the one that you guys liked the least. And also, we're going to... We're
like,
gonna
I-
charge $60 for it. Haha, gotcha.
I just think Skyward Sword's all right. So for me, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. I guess I'm glad that it's still going alive beyond motion controls. But yeah, where's that Wind Waker HD, guys? Come on.
Right. And you want to say that funny moment during the stream? Well,
You can do it.
Well,
I can do
You
it.
can say
Okay.
it.
Yeah, well, when Will first saw the trailer for Skyward Sword, he thought it was Wind Waker for about a split second, and he's like, oh.
And the second the bird popped in, I'm like, damn it.
What's funny about this is that it was
he was
long
so
rumored.
excited and happy, and like,
Yeah.
and seeing him like just be realized this. It was like telling a kid that Santa Claus was not real.
What's funny is that this game has been so long rumored that they were going to do Skyward Sword HD that, like, literally the fan art was better than the art they actually put out for the game. And I think I DM'd Will this a couple times too. We might talk about it as Will's stream. But, like, literally the cover art that they put out for it is, like, the same as the fan art. It's like, wow. So, that was pretty much it. We got Skyward Sword. We got no news on not even a year for Legend of Zelda, which is a surprise. They said they would say something later on in the year, which makes me think maybe that's what they would do. They still don't have a fall title. So it's probably going to be that. If
And we
anything.
still haven't heard anything about Metroid Prime 4, which they announced, like, what, 2 years ago?
That game is vaporware in my mind. They literally had to start over. They fired the team that was working on it before and gave it back to Retro. And then, which made me immediately ask, wait, what was Retro doing? Retro hasn't made anything since Donkey Kong Freeze, which came out in 2014. What the hell has Retro been doing? If, like, all of a sudden you can be like, okay, yeah, you guys work on this project. Like, what?
It's like they just pull them out of the closet.
Yeah, it's like literally they, like, sat in stasis for, like, 6 years. And then they're like, all right, yeah, go ahead.
All right, you guys can do stuff again.
Okay, well, you're not on punishment anymore. You're not in prison. Go make games again.
Oh yeah, apparently a new Star Wars game that we saw no gameplay
Star
for.
Wars. Yeah, Star Wars Hunters, right?
Yeah. Like
You
literally, I
wanna know
thought they were gonna show.
you want to know what's the most sus thing in video games? When you announce something with no gameplay.
Like maybe, like you just show a 10-second tease, like a
Well-
pre-rendered CGI, and then
Oh,
No,
to be
I'll double
honest,
that.
what
I'll double
we
that.
saw-
When you announce it for this year and then don't show any gameplay. That's the real time. Like,
Well, yeah. If I'm being honest, like the thing I saw of it, like when we were like looking at it, was, oh, it looks like a mobile game. Oh, these graphics remind me of a mobile game. Oh, no
literally
gameplay.
developed by a mobile game studio, yeah.
It's
DC
coming out
su-
on the Switch.
like the DC superhero girls. I'm sitting there thinking, how much did they pay Nintendo for this?
That game looked like it came
Like
out
for-
of like 2005. like
Like for GameCube, PS2.
yeah.
Gosh, I love my GameCube.
God, I really love my GameCube.
I mean, I do love my GameCube, but you know, I love good games on it.
I lost my GameCube. That
Oh,
sucks.
Will with the official burn. Watch out, DC feminine girls. You're next.
Oof. He's got to expose him.
Will's gonna put you on blast with a rap album.
I straight up thought though that we were past this point where we needed to have games that catered towards certain genders. Like, couldn't we just have like
Nope.
a game that appeals to everybody? Like,
Nope.
nope. This one's we gotta like pretend and it's literally like the most cringy take ever because they're like, oh, you can take selfies, oh, you can dress them up. It's like, I thought we were past this. Like, why are we doing this again?
No, Brendan. No, Brendan. Little did you know, we live in a society.
Meanwhile, I'm like, hey, maybe we should let people like play football, you know, if they want to, like regardless of gender, you know, maybe they can play, like, you know. Let people do what they want. I don't understand. Why is it so hard for people to understand? Anyway, yeah, that direct was pretty mid tier, pretty like 6 out of 10 direct, which they've all been. They've been that way
I
for
would
like a
give it
year
like
and a half. So
Honestly, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10 because I mean, you had some real sinkers and you didn't really have anything to bring it all the way back up.
The only reason why I give it a 6 is because they mentioned Zelda, which I did not think they would, which they surprised me. So therefore, you get 1 point extra for surprising me, for expecting the bare minimum.
You don't understand though, guys. Fall Guys is coming to Switch.
I didn't even see
Are you
that.
sure you don't want to bring it back down to a 5 with that news?
Oh yeah, wait, no, you know what? No, it's a 4. You know why? Because they're bringing Apex to Switch, a game that's going to run like ass.
Oh, do you remember that that version of Apex Legends that looked like it was like from like a 2001 Dell computer?
Yeah. You can play that on Switch for free. Yeah, no thanks. No good. We're good. The last time I watched the Direct when I was like, oh hell yeah, was when they announced Luigi's Mansion 3, which I played half of, and I was like, wow, this is really decent. That's it.
I made it close. I made it close to the end. The first one's still the best one.
Oh yeah. I would say that like they really did a good job with 3, but 3 just misses the tone. Like it just doesn't like
It plays too heavily into like the cartoony
right
side of things.
Which like the charm of Luigi's Mansion is that it wasn't that. Like it was still like a little bit of like the cartoony like Mario aspect. That's part of the world. Like I'm not expecting I'm not expecting Mr. hitting with some hardcore bombers.
Yeah, it was pretty much like watching like Courage the Cowardly Dog. You're like, oh, this is like a thing mainly for kids, but wow, they're really pushing the lines with some things, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because
I would even say the original Luigi's Mansion doesn't come close to Courage the Cowardly Dog, but yeah, I like that same kind of presence of like, oh, this is horror, but for like more younger audiences. Okay, this is cool. And there's some like
the first
subtle layers that adults can enjoy, which I think 3 has as well, but not nearly as much. Well,
when would they ever port Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2 to Switch?
yeah, I thought that was really weird.
Ever.
Remember what like last year or like was it last year or 2 years ago, where they were like, oh yeah, Luigi's Mansion 1 is coming to 3DS. We're like, what? Why?
Oh yeah, and everyone was just like, why not Switch?
Yeah.
Fuck! Get the fuck out of my Direct. Why not on the Switch looking ass?
Okay, so content warning for this show. The show deals with serious concepts like suicide, death, and deep existential thought. So if you do not want to hear about that, skip to this point in the podcast. There you go. Anyway, we had as every week on the Media Cocktail Podcast, one of our 3 illustrious hosts here, that's us, picks out a piece of media, whether that be a book, a game, a show, a movie, whatever, for us all to enjoy and critique and discuss over the course of the episode. And this week's discussion was brought up by Michael 2 weeks ago, literally on episode 1, I think. But we couldn't get to it till now. No, it was episode 2 that we did it, I think.
Yeah, episode 2. It was after Spec Ops.
Right. And we're finally getting to it, and that is the anime Death Parade. Michael, do you want to do the rest of the intro?
Oh, fuck, you're putting me on the spot.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's what I do. You better
Hell
be ready.
yeah, bro.
Better be ready. Better be ready.
Better be ready for that shit.
But yeah, it was, yes, Death Parade. It is my personal second favorite manga. Why was I about to say manga? What the fuck? I don't even read too many manga.
Because manga is superior, obviously.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm just kidding. But
He's
it
not,
is my personal... He's not, though. But it is my personal second favorite anime of all time. Second favorite show of all time, because I don't really watch too many like TV shows anymore. I'm trying to watch Netflix, but I haven't had the time for it. And it's my second favorite show of all time. The only thing I could think of that could beat it is a personal favorite that we will never get to in this podcast is Gintama, because it's like legitimately like 450 episodes.
You can get that in a day.
Oh, you got it.
But yeah, it is 25 minutes each episode, released in March 2nd, 2013, from January 9th, 2015 to March 27th, 2015. 12 episodes long, And I guess I'll give it a little bit of a plot description for anyone who might be, kind of teetering on the side, do I want to check it out? And I really haven't heard too much about it. I'm going to read the plot from Wikipedia.com. Whenever someone dies, they are sent to one of the many mysterious bars run by the bartenders serving as arbiters inside a tower in the afterlife. There, they must compete in death games with their souls on the line, the results of which reveal what secrets led them to their situation, what their fate will be afterwards, with the arbiters judging if their souls will be sent for reincarnation or banished to the void. This series follows Deckham, the lone bartender of the bar where people who died at the same time are sent to, known as Quinn Deckham Bar, and his assistant. All right, so I think I'll go last since obviously I'm the one who put it on the who put it down.
Who done it?
So I will put my personal opinions last.
All right. It should be noted at this point that if you want to avoid spoilers for Death Parade, it is time to leave now, unless you don't care, in which case, then stick around.
All right, like I said, second favorite anime. It's really good. It's got, what does it have? On my anime list, it's got an 8.2. IMDb 7.9, and Funimation gives a 4.5 out of 5. And Google users 97% like this TV show. So last call.
There you go.
And sold.
Literally last call. In an effort to not taint Will's viewpoint on the show, I'm going to let Will go first.
I mean, for me, I had watched the show previously because Michael showed this to me back when we were still in high school, I believe.
Wow.
And like my God, like he loved that show even then. Like my God.
Mm-hmm. And still has not changed because I am a man of resolutions and my opinions will never change. Do not put in Pure Comedy 2, Brendan.
Pure Comedy.
Oh, I peeked. Do not put Pure Comedy 2, Brendan.
And I would have to say I still really liked it after all these years. I think...
What'd you like about it?
Personally, I like the concept of just... it's one thing to have... like, we always see people coping when other people die, right? But I like seeing the character's reaction after their own death. Especially with certain characters who, like, committed suicide. And it's like, that's... Or, they're constantly like, why the hell did they do that?
Yeah, continue, Will.
And I just like seeing the perspective of the victim, I guess, like, in their own afterlife. And again, I also just like the concept in general of just, oh God, what is it? Because we've seen, or in other religions, like, we've seen, like, the judgment of death, I guess, or, like those who judge the person's souls to determine whether they go to heaven or hell.
Purgatory.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I just like this series concept where it's like it's not necessarily they can judge based off of just the memories alone, but they try to, like, I guess, try to understand them at the soul itself, or witness it themselves. I liked it conceptually, and I liked. It's a theme. I don't know. Like, as a kid, or when I first saw it, I suppose I was like, oh yeah, it's. I probably liked it for edgy reasons, I suppose. Like, oh yeah, it's so dark and thought provoking. Yeah. I don't know. As an adult, it's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty heavy, but all right. And I don't think there's really. I mean, I don't know what else I can really say. I personally liked it. I'm not as great as critiquing film series, I suppose. Yeah,
there you go. Will hasn't invalidated himself for any critique that he will ever make in the future.
I did. Yes, I did. Cut that off, Richard Brendan.
All right. So now we will be hearing the thoughts of Death Parade from our own Not Brendan.
Well, I'm just going to say that, like, again, like, I have to preface this, and this is a joke that's been coming. We've been making this joke on stream all the time. because of Michael's slight distaste, not even that he hated it, just slight distaste over pure comedy, I am going to be subtracting negative 12 points. The wall just keeps getting...
Wait, 12 now?
Yeah, the wall just keeps getting higher, buddy, okay?
Oh, fuck me.
He has altered the deal. Pray he doesn't alter it any
Deal.
further.
Pray he not alter further. The show will go down another 24 points. That's right, it just keeps coming. Because of Michael's slight dislike of pure comedy. Again, he gave it a 7, not an 8, not a 9, not a 10. Just a 7.
Yeah,
It's a minus 20,
even
minus 36. All right, minus 36. All right, here we go.
It's not even a slight dislike. It's just, hey, I thought I like it. It's just not a masterpiece. How does that mean a slight dislike? It was mostly positive.
All right, of course I'm just kidding. I can critique media as well. Balanced.
Can you?
In a balanced
I'm just
way.
kidding.
In a balanced way. No, I should say that before I've done this. I'm not well versed in anime. I've seen some basic ones. Like I've watched like Cowboy Bebop. I haven't experienced much anime. I've never been a big fan of the anime's art style. Like I've never been a big fan of like the big eyes and like a lot of like the tropiness, like a lot of like the gasps that people do. Like a lot of times it'll just cut to a character and the character go like why? Like why do we have to do that? Like or like a lot of cuts to like clenching fists or like the one eye with the hair. Like I've never like been a big fan of the like art aesthetic. And I've been a bigger fan of things that like avoid those kind of tropes to begin
And
with.
you know what? I would say that you're not wrong to like not prefer them. It is like purely anime tropes, but also, you know, tropes are not for everyone, and you know, it's not exactly wrong to like be like, oh, I don't like these Japanese anime tropes, and I think that's pretty fine.
Right. I'm also especially hard on animation, not because I dislike animation. I come from an animation background. Will and I literally took the same animation class. It's because I know it can be done in animation, and in animation you have 100% control. When you're a filmmaker on a set, you know, you don't have as much control as somebody that is in the computer 3D animating something. Obviously there's a bent there's a curve for 2D animation because you have to hand draw everything. And regardless of how good or bad the drawings are, you still have to sit down, you still have to do that. So there's still like an appreciation from me for doing things like that. And that's why like my first like real like positive praise I want to throw at the show is I really appreciate the hand drawn art that they've done here. I really enjoy some of the art aesthetic. Like I actually took notes for the show. One of my notes here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. One of my notes here is actually I love that pool table with the planets. I want that in real life. Even though like that makes no sense. And if you actually play pool, like that's not how the rules work. But whatever, it's super cool.
Honestly, I thought that you would. For some reason, I was like, yeah, I feel as though Brendan's going to like really like the pool table. I feel as though he's really going to enjoy that.
I also really enjoyed the air hockey table.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like as I said in my first episode, like I really feel like the bartender is a character that has been through this before, and you can even tell in his actions and the way that he speaks that he's done this before. He's seen this before. He knows what these people are gonna do, how they're gonna react, how to like say it out loud, you know. And of course, like when you deal with any show that's going to deal with an afterlife of some sort, the obvious questions come to mind that are at this point a little uncharitable. They gotta be like, oh, okay, so this is for humans, why not animals? Oh, is this for children as well? Oh, is this for old people? Like, you know, you start to like have some questions. Now there's some things that I think are a little silly that the show plays with for comedic effect. And I would honestly call this more of a comedy than anything. Because I found myself more laughing than like really like thinking about like a lot of these concepts. That's not to say that they doesn't present them in an interesting way. So I really appreciate the concept, and I really appreciate a lot of the writing. Especially, I really like the character. Like my two favorite characters are definitely like Dekame, the bartender, along with his assistant, which I can't. I'm so bad at these Japanese names. My goodness.
Oh no, it's fine. It's
Chiyuku.
I'm pretty sure it's Chiaka.
Chiyuku. Something like that.
Hold on, give me a second.
I thought it was Chiaki.
Chiaki.
Yeah, I think it's Chiaki. Yeah, Chiyuki.
Okay, that's what I was right. All right. Like
You're pretty right. Yeah.
Right. So I appreciate like a lot of the character designs. Although I was very worried about her at first because of something that a previous show I had watched did, which we might talk about on this podcast at some point, maybe.
Ooh.
Where they at first had introduced a very great female character, and then immediately she became like this tropey like misogynistic, like terrible character by the end of the show, and I was like, are we gonna do the same thing here? And luckily, not really. No. Again, my I would say like my favorite episode of the show or the series, is Memento Mori, which is the episode where she discovers her
episode.
past, right? And she does the, which I want to say, like again, like as a side note, wonderful editing, and Memento Mori, the cutbacks to her skiing, back and forth between her young and then her skiing for Dekami, and Dekami like plays the piano, like it was great. Like, that's
Or
really,
like
really
the
good.
time, or when she was skating, like or was it the same episode? Where she was skating, like after she realized about her injury, like her knee,
Right.
skin
And then
peels
literally
off.
like her knee breaks, and then like of course like the reason why the first bit of her that comes off is at her wrists, like that. Like it was really good, well done, and it's something that hints towards things. And again, like this is really like I would say like it's really well put together. My only like big fault with it is that it's not excellently presented. Everything is not bad, but like very stock standard, very like this is what I would expect. Very rarely do we get any kind of like really interesting piece of like transition or piece of editing or piece of like camera work. Of course, it's not literal camera work. There's no literal camera because it's 2D animation. But there's no like really interesting transition that I only level this critique at because I've seen it in other anime. I've seen it in Perfect Blue. I've seen it in like Cowboy Bebop of all things. And again, I want to say my the highest thing I've ever rated an anime is a 9, which is Perfect Blue. And everything below that is an 8. Just to put that in perspective. I don't know. I found myself really, really enjoying the show. Very disappointed by its presentation. Again, not that it's bad, but it's just like I think that it could have been so much more considering the subject matter.
It did a standard job, you'd say.
Right, it did a very standard job, and I find it very funny. Like a lot of the concepts that they throw out here are very funny. And again, I could be uncharitable. That you could be like, okay, well, why do they feel emotions when they're dead? Like, how does that work? And it's like, okay, everybody's a dummy. So like, why do I have any stake in this if they're all fake? Like, who made this system? Like, I liked it was kind of a throwaway line that they never went back to, although it would have been a really interesting concept, which is that, like, oh, God hasn't been here in a very long time. Like, I liked that idea. I was like, oh, so this is a system that was built, like, centuries ago that, like, nobody remembers anything about it. Like, I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, they're all
concept, but they never
puppets, right?
Right. But they never went anywhere with that. And that's something that, like, again, that's my biggest critique of the show, is presentation and teasing ideas that we don't really fully experience. And that's all right, because, again, this is mostly a character-focused show, more than a, like, what happens in the afterlife kind of thing. So, yeah, I hate to, like, go on and on and on, but, I find it very, very intriguing. I love the concept. I would really love to see this done by, I would say an American director, but like somebody that actually cares about it. Obviously not just anybody, because we've seen what happens when it's just anybody.
Edgar Wright, maybe? I don't know.
But yeah, like a serious, like real filmmaker, like that puts their head behind this concept. I mean, honestly, you could really do season after season of just people that come down and like experience the game part. And that was another critique I have, is that like a lot of these games seem kind of basic, and there's only so many of them, and we only see so many of them, and they don't really get too intriguing. And a lot of the assets are reused. It's like, oh, it's the organs inside of the bowling ball. It's like, okay, yeah, all right. I did like that episode though, that they could tell if one person was nervous over the other because of the way that the bowling ball was beating, because it was the heart. Although it did lead to something I was like, well, hold on. Of course he would be nervous. He's like, because the character picks up the bowling ball and goes, oh, she's nervous. I'm like, well, no shit. Like, they're literally like, they're literally trapped and forced to play
This is a game for your life.
Of course this person's nervous. Like, why would, like, it's just like,
What do you mean?
stuff like that.
I mean, is it normal to get trapped into a death game?
Right. Yeah. Again, I liked the setup of the first episode and the reveal in the second, which is that, like, oh yeah, the thing that he uses to, like, intimidate people to play the game, yeah, that's not real. It's just dummies in the background. Like, it's that.
It's not. I mean, he never he never lied to them, but never told the full truth either.
Right, which is something that the detective does. The detective says he's not lying to me, but he's like, he's like doing something. He's just empty. Like, that's what the detective says. And I like the reveal of that, the detective's story arc. I mean, we're jumping around here, but I like the reveal of the detective as the crazy one, and the kid is just like having an average revenge story.
But then gets pulled into the craziness.
Right. Like I liked the setup from week to week. Even though it's not my favorite episode, I still liked the comedic bit in it's not Death March. What's the episode where the girl and the band dude from Chart Attack?
Yeah,
Cross
yeah.
Heart Attack.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny episode. Although I don't like the Arbiter in that one as much because he just seems like a hothead. And I normally I'm be fine with a hothead, but they were like, "Oh, arbiters do not experience human emotion." I'm like, well, why is he yelling and calling everybody an idiot all the time? Like, what? Like,
I will say this one thing though. I think it's like what it was trying to say was like with like that episode was like he might have like a similar deal because in the end he did keep that one girl. I can't remember his name though. Machiko, I think it was, or no.
that was something I didn't understand. Like, why was she staying around? Like the entire time he seemed like he hated that character, but he kept her around for like
well, my only
very
guess,
little reason.
I think it was like he was trying to he could have properly judged her at the time because again she sacrificed herself, which he wasn't expecting, and it's like, okay, hold on, I gotta figure more of this out.
He was forced to do something that he wasn't. Okay. I might have I had to read like a bunch of these like subtitles. I might have missed something, so if I missed something, feel free to like fill me in. That's okay.
Yeah, that, and also it was like she just like the entire impression that he had of her is like she's like a very like hard character to like read. So and I think that was like the entire thing was like a lot of like the things like Ginty, even though at best he was like a kind like a just a side character with like, but his entire thing was like he's going through even though that he's criticizing Decim with being like, oh yeah, you should judge that woman now, and
right.
Who cares about humans? It's like, oh, he actually
Had that difficulty himself.
just
right.
yeah, he had that person be himself as well. Like, oh, actually, I don't know where I would rate this person. Even like at the end, after he sends her to the void, he still keeps that little like water container thing in like her image to say like he's not exactly like all for humans, but still has kind of like that
There's
respect for humanity.
There's a core to him. But like, I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of my problem with the character is that he's supposed to be emotionless. I mean, again, as I read it in the terms of the rules for these arbiters, that they're supposed to be like emotionless because they're supposed to be disconnected from humans, so they can better judge them or whatever. And again, like,
Yeah.
something that I liked about the show a lot is that I was thinking like, wait, the system doesn't work because of X, Y, and Z, and then it brings it up in episode like 10, 11, 12. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're calling out the things that I thought that were weird about the system that you have. Not everything. Like, and I get like why the cat's there, because they were like, oh, you have to have something that you cherish, and it's like, oh, because he's got the cat, he's got the, okay, and he's got the dolls later on, and the dolls are part of his stick. So like when they're doing like the I liked the gag. This is a bit of a jump, but I liked the gag. But when she had to go to the bathroom and when she was so embarrassed about like potentially like peeing herself or whatever, I was like, wait, she's a dummy. Why does she have like functions at all? Like I thought she's dead. Like why did she like why would you like? I get like the joke, and I like the message of like this person would rather sacrifice herself than embarrass herself in front of her idol. Like I thought that was funny, but again, it's like but I think it was kind of like things, especially when the show is playing up the comedy bit of it. That's more forgivable than just like ignoring things like that.
Yeah,
and again, that's part of the conceit of the bars, right? It's supposed to convince these people that they are in a real place, so they can better judge them, right? Like it's part of like the mirage or the play or whatever.
Try to draw the darkness out of the human soul.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, I like the end of her arc as well, where she's yelling at him, and he's like, "Isn't that life of like idolization kind of lame?" And she's like, "I don't care if it's lame. It's what I chose."
Yeah.
Which I thought was really, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's a cool moment. And again, I like the end of. Sorry to go on and on and on. I just so many thoughts about this, and I have like notes.
I'm enjoying everything that you've said so far, and there's nothing I can say like, oh, I think he's just like, wrong about this. Everything that you're saying is like, I can understand. At the very least, be like, okay, I can understand like why you would have like this problem with the show, or like want to like say like this. I don't think that you've said anything. I'm like, okay, that's just unreasonable. So and everything I'm having is like, I'm having a lot of enjoyment hearing what you have to say, because I'm going to. Because before, like, me literally gushing about the show.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're gonna go on and on and on. So that's actually good to have some balanced. No, I do think that the end of the show is a little schmaltzy, with everybody crying at the end and her like being like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that I didn't understand." Whatever.
Or Declan being like, sorry, it hurt me, then it hurt me
like,
just as much as it hurt
okay,
you.
Okay. And also, it's also a little weird considering that they have like this huge emotional moment at the end of it, and it just cuts the elevator, and they're like, "All right, yeah, see ya." And it's like, well, there is a little bit of the moment where he tries to smile or whatever, and I liked that moment, but like it just felt a little jarring. And that was something else I wanted to mention, is that like in terms of like sound design, I never was blown away by any of the sound effects or the music. And again, like I only think about that because I think of things of like as achievements. Like when I score something, I don't just go like, "Oh, I liked it, so 10." Like I do it like, okay, well, I try to do like as much as I can, especially specifically with video. Like film or animation or things like that, things that I know a lot about in games. I can go like, okay, I know that this is an achievement because I know it's how hard it is to do X, Y, or Z. And a lot of the sound design, well, I liked it. And in some cases, like I noticed a lot of repetition. I loved the opening, although I don't think that it really works with the overall tone of the show. And I think that they know that as well, which is why they didn't include it in episode 12 until the end.
Well, I think that's also kind of like the thing of like, it's one thing that I think is like the beginning and the end. It's supposed to show like, at least as far as I read it, it's like in the beginning it's all this like happy thing that almost seems like contradict like the show, and
Right.
at the ending thing was like very like sad, almost like this like sad like I'm not gonna make it, like
Right.
almost like kind of like edgy thing. And the thing I think about was like it's kind of like showing, at least in my mind, it was like kind of showing like the balance between, because life is never just like, oh, it's all just sad. There's plenty of like moments even in this show where things were lost, but also things were gained, things were happy, people enjoy, even in death they found like a way to just enjoy themselves.
Right, like that date episode. Like I like that one.
Like the date episode, and it's
Right.
trying to show like, to me it was like trying to show like the dichotomy of like what life really is. It's never just like, oh, it's all just sad and unfair and stuff like that. There's moments of pure ugliness, like the mom in episode 4, or like the detective and the kid. But there's also signs of like really happy and joy and beauty, because that's what life really is. It's never
Right.
just one or the other.
Yeah, it's not like just one thing. Like,
I mean, Declan has this whole spiel about how he has respect for those who lived a full life.
Right. Something else I really like. It's not like a positive. It's just something that that should be basic for everybody, but in America specifically, we kind of ignore it. Which is that in TV shows or in movies or whatever, that we feel like we have to belabor you and like constantly explain the rules of something. And I really appreciated that in Death Parade, they did not feel the need to explain to you over and over and over again, okay, so there was a soul that is trapped between heaven and hell, and we are the arbiter. No, it was often like, well done. They would cut that segment out. They would skip to something else. I really appreciated that.
Or like it would like cut to all of them being like, shit, there really is no exit. What are we going to do?
You would get to they would pick up the pace with it. And I really appreciated that, because in American TV, you don't get that. You get okay, we have to explain the whole thing to you again. Okay, commercial. Back. All right, explaining the thing again. Now here we go. Like, it's like, and especially if you watch again, like American TV specifically. I don't know about English TV because I don't watch a lot of it, or foreign TV. But like, especially with sitcoms, which are the worst offenders, they will say something or do something, cut the commercial, come back, and if you don't notice it until you start noticing it, but they will repeat jokes, they will repeat concepts, they will reintroduce you to the problem, as if like you're stupid and you had no idea that like this was the problem. Like, I liked the show, but How I Met Your Mother is terrible about this. It will often say, here is the problem, go to commercial, come back. I can't believe this is the problem. Anyway, solution. Like, it's such a terrible thing that like shows do. And even like in the early days of streaming, you'd see the same thing, because it's like the traditional television writing standards of like, okay, you end one episode and you come back and you got to remind everybody of what happened over the commercials. Oh wait, no, this is on Netflix. There is no commercial. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I
don't mean to
definitely
belabor that
understand what
point,
you
but,
mean.
like, yeah, like that is something that I really appreciate. Again, I don't think anybody like performed poorly. There were a couple people that I thought were pretty bland. And again, like presentation is like really like the thing that like undercuts this for me. Is it was like, oh, this is a really cool concept, but if you did X, Y, or Z, that would be really, really cool visually, but you didn't do it. Because again, I'm a biggest fan of, especially in visual mediums, show don't tell. Just show it. Don't tell us. Don't write a book about it. Don't do whatever. Just show us what the thing is. And I thought this does an admirable job at it. It's not perfect. It's not anywhere close to something that, again, we'll get to, that throws it off a cliff, which is really interesting. Not the show, something else that we want to talk about. Okay. I don't think the show.
I was about to say,
the show never goes off a cliff. It never jumps the gun for me. I think that it's solid. It's really, really solid at the end. Okay at the beginning. I like the concept. It's well introduced. I think it could have gone on for longer, honestly, considering how open things are in terms of like their plot conceit. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather
I'm
have
gonna
it
end
be.
there just because we're already at an hour and 45 minutes, and we gotta let Michael
45.
talk. So
Yeah. So yeah, this is obviously, as I said before, obviously I have a little bit of a personal bias towards the show. This is my second favorite show of all time. Just, Brendan says that he hates, reintroducing concepts, but I am going to shove concepts down your throat. Mark my words. But I really, 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 really just enjoy this show. I love this show so much because the thing is, like, I think that the best thing that I could say about the show is a lot of like the things about, like, probably like the thing that gets me like the most is I love to see characterization, and I'm going to be probably the most critical on characterization, even though and also to preface this, I am also a very empathetic person. Like, this is a show that I've seen this 3 times before, and I knew at like for the second and third part, I'm like, I'm gonna cry at this part, aren't I? And then I ugly cry, and I'm like, yep, they're the tears. And I just love, because one of the best things I love is, even like some like the weaker, like what I would consider like the weaker characters, like Nona and Nona, because she's like interesting and funny at times, but at the same time she could be like, she doesn't really have that much emotion and like not much like going on for like that's part of the show, I guess you could say. It doesn't really too much characterize her, other than like the defiance that she has towards, as I say, the closest thing that they have to God. Yeah. But like a lot of like the human characters, it's like I really enjoy it. It all feels like it's like, okay, I can actually imagine a person being like this or having this motive somewhere in the world, The 2 episodes that usually get me the hardest with that is, or I guess 3, is the episode with the single mom and the guy who commits suicide, the otaku guy. Because I really love those characters, because it really did. I felt as though like characterization really did feel like a person who was a person. I think like the mom, they did really well. She's still an unlikable person, and she still has super flaws, but it really makes you empathize with her, because yeah, in her life she has constantly had bad hand after bad hand after bad hand, and having to somehow live and deal with that. And even though that she is a bad person, you kind of feel for her. So for like just her passion, especially when she's like, I will do anything to go back to my kids. And the otaku guy who is like a very like popular thing I understand for like suicide, is like that most people who do try and commit suicide, at least the ones that we know who survive, end up really, really regretting it. And just to show that like pure regret and I wish I have no regrets. Like, I wish that this person that really tried their best for me when no one else tried even remotely as closely, that I just constantly neglected her, and just paid as if she was like nobody. And having Decim like bring together and said, the thing that I think is like probably like, if there is an afterlife, once again, if the thing that I think would be the thing that most people would like to hear, at least in my opinion, which is not exactly you were good or you're bad, but you tried your best. Because I think that's, in the end, one thing I have to agree with pure comedy is, like, we're just a bunch of, like, monkeys that are just, like, walking around trying to do what we only think that we think is, like, best. And having someone at the very end say, I know, just acknowledge that and say, yes, I know that you tried your best, is, to me, that's, like, the most powerful thing in that entire like episode, in that scene, was that scene of him just saying, you did your best. Because but it's just so, I think that part is so great. And second part being the showdown with, you know, as we said, the evil detective guy and the guy who has that kind of standard, at least as you say, the kind of standard revenge plot. Even though that it might have been revenge, I think that the execution was showing so far. He was showing like a bunch, I would say, like more sides than even like the other characters. Which is like, he really hates this guy. He did nothing for his sister. He really, really, really wants to just put that person through absolute hell for what he did, or more what he didn't do. So yeah, just the entire thing of like having that even like, as I said before, he felt kind of like cartoonishly villainous at times. It still kind of, I think, did like a really good job of like executing him into like, hey, this is a man who like was a detective but ended up becoming a vigilante with his own warped justice. Making him feel like human, like, to where, even though, as I said, bit villainous, he still felt, in the end, believable. And seeing like the one murderer kid, just one of the things I have to say is, like, some of the scenes do feel like raw, kind of like Raw, where it's like the entire, like when the kid stabs the detective, like in the real life, he's just like standing there yelling and just like basically pure adrenaline, and just like holding it there. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a need to go like overly like flamboyant with like its actions, where it's like, oh, he does like a cool little like somersault. Sometimes they do that, especially with like the stuff with like Decim, especially the fight with like Decim versus Ginty. Where that little anime fight. But I just really like that scene. It made me really feel like, oh, this is like the fall of this murderer kid, and also kind of like is like a very big like breaking spot for like Decim, where it's like, oh, is what we're doing like fucked up? It might be fucked up. And lastly, obviously the thing of like, that's one thing I personally disagree with, which is like the entire thing of like, as you said, it kind of gets like, I believe the word you used was like soapy at the very end.
Schmaltzy.
Yeah. But seeing
like a
that,
little, like I'm not like too hard on it, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, because it's literally like this girl who's in her mind is dead, and she has like the chance to be like, of being like, hey, you can come back, and really, really struggling with the decision, because it could mean, you know, someone out, because it means someone out there who probably has loved ones of their own. She'd be basically taking that life from them,
right?
And so she just basically created another scenario of like what she's in right now.
It's also unfair, right? Like, she started thinking of all the people that didn't get that opportunity. I mean, that's something that I read into it, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she thinks like all these other people didn't have this opportunity. Like the mother, the two people who, one had a baby, one of them was a father. One of them being a kid that just that didn't know what he had until he had it lost. And then the two murderers. He didn't give that chance to anyone else except herself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so yeah, it was completely unfair to like
Even though it was
all
fake.
the other yeah, even though it was fake. But that was also like the last little thing to like break, you know, the I guess you could say like the arbiter, the cold dissonance of Decim, and have him like really feel like I really regret what I did. I should never have like this was what I did was so completely unfair, and I didn't ever mean to hurt you this way. I just wanted to know you. And at the end, they even have like a little part where they're like walking back, like describing everything, and it's like and you can see like in his pockets he has the Shavo dolls that he's just keeping for himself after she's gone. And I just love. I'm sorry. I don't want to go on for too long. I just really, really love the characters of the characters and characterization and like the themes. This actually like the thing is like I'd never really like thought too much about like for me it's like okay, death, whatever. But one thing
Clip
that was
that moment.
you know, just kind of funny.
Clipped death. Whatever.
Whatever. But one thing I actually thought about as like it was that like when the first time I was like, oh my god, I thought of like what if death is that way as well, was I actually had like thought before of like just like completely separately of like the concept of the void, where it's like a place where it's like you're not exactly like your soul's gone, but it's like a thing where your soul is just going through, you know, terror and grief and regret and all these different super negative things for like eternity. And when I thought about that, I was like completely terrified. So like seeing that, I'm like, oh fuck, that's fucking scary as shit. But thinking about like as Will said, thinking about like the impact of not only the people who have died, but also the person who has died after the fact. How, you know, seeing like the interesting reactions, like how would they react? Of course, nobody wants to be dead. They want to, you know, obviously live.
Hot take.
And seeing like the different reactions. Brenda's like, nah, can't relate.
Can't relate.
And seeing like the different reactions to like death. Some of them accept it with a smile, like that old woman.
Right.
Some of them accept it with with a pleading, like the mother. Some of them accept it with anger, like the dad. Some of them react completely strangely, like the couple. And seeing those reactions was very, very nice, and I think like very, very humanizing of all the characters involved. And it's just love it so much.
All right, let's do the ratings. Ratings for Death Parade. Go ahead, Will.
I mean, I'd probably give it like a 9. I really liked it, so.
Each time it sounds like the kid's like, did you take that Tootsie Roll? Did you take the Tootsie Roll? yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did. Will, like, every time he's like, well, I like that. It's like Mike and I go back and forth for like 35 minutes. Well, I like that. I like things. I
am human.
I am human, yes.
I mean, like, I thought there was cool concepts. It was pretty.
Games.
Nah, just critiquing. Yeah, I'm only like I only consider myself somewhat decent at critiquing games. So, but no, I probably just give it like a 9 myself. Because those emotional impacts really do get to me. Like you said, Mike, the mother and the otaku guy, like that one, I'm just like, God damn it, that one really hits. I think just the idea of the guy committing suicide and leaving his mother or stepmother behind like that, it's just like, man, that would really suck.
Yeah, the thought of like having regrets that you could never go back to, just it it thinks if you're like when you think of like empathetically of like oh if what is in this position it kills the heart, and I would consider myself an extremely empathetic person, so it like that show just killed me. This show kills my feels where they like belong, but all right, so 9 out of 10, Brendan.
I would give it an 8 out of 10, closer to a 7 than a 9. But I would say really well done. Handled its topic matter usually maturely. Sometimes I thought it was a little silly, a little tropey for anime, that is. But it's part of the genre, so I'm not obviously like counting that in as like a point deduction or anything like that. But no, really well put together, especially considering the runtime.
That makes me glad to hear. Pure comedy. Obviously it's a 10 out of 10 for me. I'm going to add one thing to like my talking point, which is if I'm being honest, that it really makes this at the time, and still like I kind of like watch it every now and then just to kind of be reminded of it, because it still will get me at times, which is this show actually like Gintama has a special part in my heart, mainly because it was like the show that got me out of a really, really bad headspace and mindset. I have to give that to like to Gintama. It might not like I am rewatching it with my roommate, and though I see like a bunch of like I would consider problems, it still has yet to not be my favorite anime of all time because I still have that like emotional like impact connection to it.
Yeah.
But for this, it really gives me basically puts in like my mind space of like, yeah, it makes me like really, really appreciate life, and it kind of like makes me made me like try and appreciate like other people's ways of living, even if it's not like my own, or just in expecting and respecting the lives of others. I'm a very big proponent of like do unto others not because of what God says, but because because we're all just trying to achieve one silly dumb thing as happiness. And it really helps, and it like really like gets me like there where it's like, yeah, when I die, I might be, hated or loved, hated, whatever, but it is the life that I chose. And it is also when I die, it basically gave me a thing of like trying to do everything that I can do to like what I want, because in the end, when you're with like money, no, you can't take money back to the grave with you. They can give you security in the life, but if you when you die, whether there's an afterlife or not, all you have left is your achievements. And when I'm on my deathbed, if I can smile at what I've done, then I could probably, even if I do great or completely fail, I can at least smile at what I've like tried to achieve. And here is Michael with the sappy bullshit. Back to you, Brendan.
All right, thank you for listening to episode 4 of the Bars and Tone podcast. We have a little announcement.
Bars and Tone?
Sorry, shit. I've got my brain. My brain is fried. Okay, we haven't like no running water here. Again, I want to bring that up again. It's the sympathy points. Anyway, thank you for listening to the Media Cocktail podcast, episode 4.
There you go.
There we are. We have a little bit of an announcement to make at the end of this episode. 1, we have the Ritter cocktail of choice for the evening, and 2.
There you go.
We have a little announcement of a new show that we're going to be adding to this channel, and it might be uploaded to our branded channel as well. I might as well, I think, because like nobody knows what this is yet. Which is that the little show is called Media Cocktail Happy Hour. And what is that, Brendan? Is this another one of your edited bullshit videos that are like mildly funny? Why, yes, sir, or madam, or MB, I don't know, whoever you are. Yes, it is that. We have devised a little bit of an event that we will record or live stream, or both, probably both on a lot of occasions, in which we do a various game or various activity. So our first one is Jeopardy, which has been lovingly created by our friend Mike over here, who painstakingly put everything together. I really appreciate that. Clap out to him.
I'm going to die.
That video will come out on Friday, February February 26th, hold me to it. If it doesn't come out, it's probably because Texas went to another hellhole, or Brendan got lazy, or both. Anyway.
Well, yeah, Mr. Editor, if this doesn't come out that day, you could always edit it out. No one will ever
Boom.
hear this part.
Boom. Got it. Now Michael's thinking with portals. Anyway, what is our ratings, gentlemen, for the cocktail of the evening?
I mean, it's got
Well,
a
you wanna go
decent
first?
amount of flavor to it, so I mean, probably like a 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Is that true?
You liked it, so. Like, I just like drinking, okay?
I like the drunks.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I would say about 7. Very spicy drink. Good pick. Good pick for a first one. Very easy to make, as most of these will be for the near future.
At least the beginning part. Yeah.
Yes. Michael.
Yeah, I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10. It's, I would not consider myself a vodka type of person, but
Yeah.
The ginger ale and like the lime really offsets like the vodka fucking rubbing alcohol taste,
Yeah.
and it actually lets me enjoy a pretty strong drink.
I had a
Which-
chaser of a Budweiser afterwards. Woo.
Well, I'm gonna be hitting I'm gonna be hitting a chaser with during Jeopardy. It's probably gonna be a rum and coke.
Oh hell yeah, dude. There you go.
There you go,
There
boy.
you go. Again, thank you for listening to episode 4 of the Media Cocktail Podcast. We hope you join us for next week. The 3 of you that listen to this, which is not us. Well, it might be us. I don't know. Apparently, we don't even have 3 subscribers. Do we have 3 subscribers now? Did we check that? Can we get a live feed? Can we get a live feed? Hold on. I'm pulling it up. Still don't see it. There we are.
We now have 3
We now
subscribers.
have 3 subscribers. We did it. We did it. We peaked.
We peaked.
We peaked.
It's never gonna get better than this.
Never gonna get better than this. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Really,
Oh,
Please
wait.
subscribe.
There's one more thing.
Oh yeah.
This is
Will.
very important. Literally the concept of the show. Will, what is your piece of media for next week?
Next week shall be Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh fuck.
Colossi?
There you
Shadow
go.
of the Colossi? It should be.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Colossus.
No, it should be Shadow of the Colossi because there's more than one.
Got it. So that's right. So if you do not want to be spoiled for Shadow of the Colossus, play it by next Monday. Not Monday the 22nd, but literally Monday the 1st of March. Wait, no, it would be the second. No, yeah, no. Yeah, it would be the 1st. Got it. I know time.
You know how time works.
No, I know how time works. All right, so you have a week, a little more than a week. A week. It's the 19th right now as of recording. So, you got like a week and 3 days to play it. That's enough time. It's a pretty short game.
It's not like
I actually I installed it earlier. I had the remaster. And I looked at it. I was about 4 hours in. I had beaten like almost every boss in the game. It's like, oh, okay, so this is not.
yeah, it's like a 6 to 8 hour game. So if
Right.
it-
Yeah.
It's not one. It's just one of those where like if you actually sit down to play it, not gonna take that long.